right, so this video here is going to be pretty much talking about how to match your traffic source to the type of offer that you're running on the front end. So we're going to be covering these four main platforms. There's a few other ones, but they're not super important for this video. We're just going to be covering YouTube, X, Instagram, TikTok, and a lot of this stuff might be pretty simple for a lot of people, but it also might be helpful for some people that want to run an offer, but have no idea what to kind of run on the front end with the type of traffic that they're driving. So without further ado, we're just going to get straight into the TikTok section here. And now TikTok is primarily a short form platform where essentially people are just recording like under 60-second reels, not reels, that's for Instagram, but under 60-second videos, oftentimes even less. And a lot of people are just coming onto TikTok literally to just kill time, have fun, just doom scroll, watch a bunch of random videos. So on TikTok specifically, you could almost never lead with a high ticket offer. Only in super rare case scenarios can you do that. But trying to think of an example. I don't even know an example off the top of my head. But on TikTok, you will have to lead with a low ticket offer just because people are not coming to TikTok, obviously with their credit cards out or looking to buy anything. They're going there to just kind of have fun and watch some funny videos. So if you are able to captivate their interest and really pique their interest, then you could probably hook them in with a low ticket offer. So anything like an ebook challenge, starter program, anything that is small, just to kind of hook them in and get them into your kind of funnel. That's what you will hook them in with on TikTok. And then later you could play the ascension game and try to push them into a higher ticket product. But you could almost never lead with it on the front end on TikTok. So now we're going to dive into Instagram. Instagram is very similar to TikTok, but I would say, and some of you might disagree with me, but I would say it is more so of a professional platform where people will follow like more so people that they trust. Like, let's see what I kind of put down here. Yeah, people follow more business pages, more professionals, more creators that they trust. And on TikTok, I would say it's more just like strictly to have fun. So Instagram is slightly more serious, but at the end of the day, it is still a short form platform with all of the reels people are pretty much putting out there. So you're still going to have to lead it with a low ticket here in most case scenarios where you essentially just kind of hook someone's interest, you kind of pique their interest, and then from there you're able to ascend them pretty much exactly like I was describing with TikTok. Now, I did kind of explain that Instagram is a little bit different, so you will see a lot of people on Instagram also leading with a higher ticket offer, but that's most of the times the case when someone also has a YouTube channel, so they are kind of pumping out and pushing out long form content on there, and then people also follow them on Instagram. So they kind of both work synergistically. They just use Instagram for their short form content, and then they are pumping out a bunch of videos on YouTube, which are long form, a lot more educational. They dive deeper into the subject matters and stuff like that. So it just kind of depends. If you have some version of long form content that you pump out, you can lead with high ticket on the front end here, but most of the time you are going to have to be just selling like a low ticket product and then working those customers and essentially ascending them into your higher ticket thing. But yeah, let's see what I said here. Instagram has better upsell potential because people treat it like a lifestyle platform, not just endless entertainment like TikTok is. So yeah, it is a little bit different. Hopefully I did a good job at explaining the difference between Instagram and TikTok there, because there is a slight difference. But now I'm just going to kind of get right into Twitter. And Twitter is an interesting one just because on Twitter, a lot of people go there to, or at least I go there to essentially hear a bunch of interesting ideas from a bunch of interesting people. So so X or Twitter, I still call it Twitter to this day, but it is interesting because you could technically lead with either a higher ticket or lower ticket. It just kind of depends on your specific audience. So you have to think about your audience demo, and then you have to really think about the kind of content that you're putting out there on Twitter. If you're putting out really high quality informational content that is actually benefiting a lot of people, you can lead with coaching here and it will do well. There's plenty of examples of this, but if you're not like dropping like major like sauce on like the timeline here and just dropping and sharing a bunch of like super interesting ideas that people haven't heard before, you are gonna have to lead with a lower ticket just because you're literally just not providing enough value to the person that is reading your tweet. So you will have to play the ascension game once again. But Twitter is cool in that way where it is a pretty higher quality audience than, for example, TikTok and Instagram, but it is definitely still below YouTube. So hopefully that did a solid job at explaining Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. But now I'm just going to get into YouTube. YouTube is probably the best one by far, but there is also some nuance with this one, which I'm going to get into. And YouTube long form is by far the best platform right now for like making any sort of money with a higher ticket offer, because people who watch a 10, 15, 20-minute video, and it doesn't even have to be this short, because this is technically pretty short on YouTube. A lot of people will put out like full guides, like an A to Z guide. They'll also just call it like a free course, whatever you want to call it. And some of these could be multiple hours long, where they're just dropping tons of game from their experience. And these do very, very well at kind of converting people, because you are providing a lot of kind of original sauce in a super long video. And when people watch that, they get super captivated, and they just trust you more, because you were able to kind of pump out a 3-hour video, a 4-hour video, whatever it may be, and like actually provide a bunch of value to them and stuff that is actionable and that they could actually implement. So they will trust you and obviously buy your stuff. So that's just pretty obvious there. But pretty much on YouTube, they see you, they hear you, they learn from you, and most importantly, they watch you demonstrate. So the creators that make the most money on YouTube aren't just teaching concepts. They're basically just showing a bunch of real examples and case studies, breaking down systems and sharing results. So this is kind of what builds trust, and this is the nuance I was talking about earlier. So on YouTube, there is, I would just categorize it in two different ways. There's people that essentially create content like for freeloaders. So this would include just like top 5 tips for X niche, and they just kind of break those down in the video. And it's more so like top of funnel content, where you just have a bunch of random people watching it. But the actual videos that make a lot of money are the ones where you are essentially demonstrating. So you're kind of like in the weeds, you're showing them exactly how to do X process, and then what to implement, what to watch out for. So that's like kind of the nuance I was talking about earlier. You want to be sort of a demonstrator. So you want to be in the weeds. You want it to be relatable to the person watching. So you're essentially putting yourself in the situation that you're essentially putting yourself in the situation that they currently are in and are stuck with, and are perfectly demonstrating to them how to achieve whatever they want to achieve, or help them, give them like actionable steps to actually like allow them to take action and be very clear on what they want to do. So that's the kind of idea there. Hopefully I explained that pretty well. But that demonstration builds so much trust that people are then comfortable buying high ticket offers here, and they feel like they really know you. So when someone on YouTube watches a bunch of your videos, they could consume hours and hours and hours of your content. They actually just end up feeling like they really know you. And as long as you frame it all correctly, they're going to feel like they really know you and trust you. And it's much easier to kind of sell anything that is a lot more expensive than on, for example, TikTok or Instagram Reels, just because like here on TikTok, for example, someone could go through all of your TikToks, and if you're a big creator, it could only be like, let's say like 2 to 3 hours worth of actual content. But on YouTube, literally one video here could be 2 to 3 hours long. So that is a major difference, and people are obviously going to trust you a lot more when they watch your YouTube videos. So yeah. So this is where I left off earlier. That demonstrates that demonstration builds so much trust here that people are comfortable buying high ticket offers from you. So anything from courses to coaching to done for you stuff, this is where higher ticket offers obviously will shine. So let's see if I missed anything. Oh, and a good example I thought of here is a creator on X, which is, his name is Brute de Force. So BRUTEDE Force. So FORCE. And probably like a solid portion of you like know him because he kind of blew up in 2023, but he has a bunch of original like content on Twitter, and his ideas are super unique. Like you probably haven't heard of them before, and he just kind of built up a cult like following here on X, and he was essentially able to kind of sell this mastermind, which I believe was 20,000 per seat. Oh, and another interesting thing is he was running a ton of different spaces here. So he had spaces that were over an hour long. Some of them were 2 hours long. I think some of them even hit 3 hours long, where he was essentially engaging with his audience, answering all their questions, kind of like diving into the weeds with them. And this really built up a lot of trust to the point where he was able to essentially like run this like mastermind group, which was, I believe it was 20,000 per seat. Yeah. And he got like over, I think it was between 20 to 30 people that actually signed up. So that just kind of showcases the power of X a little bit more. And I'm sure you guys already know a ton of different creators on TikTok and Instagram, but this is a very good example that you could kind of study for X specifically. And now just to kind of tie this all back together, essentially the idea is you don't want to treat every platform the exact same. You want to match the offer to the traffic source. So if you're primarily running on a short form platform like TikTok and Instagram, you want to lead with low ticket on the front end. If you are posting tons of YouTube long form, you want to lead with a high ticket on the front end. And if you are Twitter, you could play both sides, just kind of depending. If you're on Twitter, you could play both sides, just kind of depending on how interesting your ideas are, just the kind of audience that you're building up, how much they trust you, how unique your ideas are, all of that stuff. So you want to consider that. And then, yeah, it just really depends on your positioning here. So that's something that you need to analyze yourself. But once you align your offers with the traffic intent that you're driving on whatever platform you're using, the conversions will be a lot easier, and then scaling will just be a lot easier as well, just because everything is kind of like flowing downstream from there. But yeah, hopefully this video helped some of you guys out if you're kind of confused on how to structure your offer depending on the platforms you're driving traffic on. And yeah, that'll be it for this video.